So you're thinking of moving to Malaysia and you're wondering what the customs are, as in what are the kind of habits, what things you can notice that maybe aren't common in your country. So I'm from the UK, so I can only really comment on the customs I notice. There's probably lots of customs that I don't notice, but these are the ones for me. Alright, first one is when you pay for something, people give you the receipt in both hands. So I don't know if I can do it. They'll like both hands, and I think I already know it's a polite respectful way of giving you your receipt. I've heard that when Japanese give you their business card, they do it with both hands, and when you receive the business card, you're meant to take it with both hands and study it, not just put it straight away. That's the polite way, I believe, to take especially a Japanese business card. But it also seems to make sense to me, so probably we should all do that. With regards to the receipt, sometimes I feel bad because I've just paid and I've got my wallet. I don't have two hands to take the receipt with. So sometimes, maybe it's the change. So sometimes I take with one hand, which I know I probably shouldn't be, but I kind of try and nod and thank you and pay them respect. I don't just grab it. Okay, that's the first custom. This one seems quite crucial. Custom number 2 is when you point with your thumb. You don't point with a finger. That's really, I think it's really rude. They all point with a thumb, even if it's like, oh, your golf ball is over there. It's with a thumb, not with a finger. So don't start pointing with your finger like we do in the UK. All right, next one. It seems common to always turn up with a gift. So if you're just meeting someone for a coffee, if you're going around for dinner, it's customary also in the UK to take a gift. But we're getting the feeling that there's also just random gift giving. We have a neighbour and he's just always bringing around coconuts, like special street food, fruits, mangoes, chopped dragon fruit, and we're kind of like, oh my god, we've got to like get him something. So we're doing our best to stay up with the just gifting, just everywhere we can and whenever we remember. And it doesn't have to be much, literally like a packet of biscuits, a packet of scones, a box of fruit. I mean, it costs nothing, but it's the gesture. It's a really nice gesture. We're really enjoying that part of it. I've done a separate video on driving, but it's customary here to not be aggressive, not to hoot and go bananas if someone cuts in front of you. I don't think they deem it as cutting you up or cutting in front of you. They're totally chilled. If you change lanes, swing across the road, pull out in front of them, I don't want to say there's no aggression, but say the UK driving is 100% aggression, here it's 20%. So sometimes I've been surprised because I have pulled out, I have crossed the lane, because I'm trying to navigate. Sometimes it's not the easiest. And there's no like flashing, hooting that you'd 100% get back in the UK. It's very common here, totally never done in the UK, is you touch your chest as it seems to be like a distance handshake. So you may kind of want to shake someone's hand in the UK, or you may wave. Here it's a chest touch and maybe a slight nod. That's like a kind of a hello, thank you, kind of acknowledge you kind of way. So there's quite often guys on entrances to housing complexes and stuff, and often they'll do this. So I'm trying my best where relevant to back. That's quite seems quite a polite one, very common here. Zilcho in the UK for that one. I don't know if it's customary, but I'm trying my best to answer with basic. It's not called Malaysian. I think it's the local language is Bala. So like saying terima kasih, and that's like thank you, and where best I can using some of their language. But English is very well understood as a general rule. Tipping. The UK and America, there's just tipping is like 50% of your bill. Maybe not 50%, I'm kind of joking, but there's heavy tipping expected. I don't get the impression here that tipping is really a thing. They put on a service charge in restaurants, like I think it's 10 or 12.5%, something like that, sometimes 8. But I don't see or get the feeling that it's a really heavy tipping culture and that it's expected, unlike the UK and maybe the States. This custom here, shoes off. if you're going in anyone's house or even someone's shop, if you notice shoes on the way in outside the house, take yours off. So definitely in people's residences, there is not a shoe inside the front door. 100% don't get this wrong. There's no reason for you to keep your shoes on. And I think it's quite offensive if you do. I've been into where I had the custom shirts made. That was a shoes off shop. But when I went to the vet, it was still shoes on. So just pay attention at the doorway if it's a shoes off or shoes on place. Definitely in a residential, your shoes are off. Even if you're, when you're viewing property, even if there's no furniture, no one's living there, you will take your shoes off before you go through the door. Just one thing to be aware of. 100%, don't get that one wrong. And I say this because if any Malaysians are watching this, or maybe just Asians, they're like, that's totally bizarre, you don't take off your shoes. In the UK, you don't take off your shoes. Some houses have their shoes off once you get inside the front door. You may or may not take off your shoes. I'm a shoe off person inside, but I know so many of our friends who are shoes on throughout the house. So that's why I mentioned that one. The customer service here is outrageously good. I've been, at the very beginning, I was totally dumbstruck. For example, I bought a monitor, a big monitor, and not only, so you go to pay for it, you know, box, at the desk, 2 hands. The guy took it out of the box, plugged it in, checked it with me, and then said, okay, it's good to go. We bought something else, I can't remember what it was. He took it out of the box, this is in a different store, plugged it in, checked it worked, and then said, there you go. When I bought the Tax Neo trainer bike, he delivered it in person, set it up in person, checked that it worked in person, and this is at 9 at night. So we have been shocked at the level of customer service. I really don't want to take it for granted, and in those circumstances I didn't kind of know, like especially the bike guy, I didn't know whether I should tip him. But yeah, I don't want to say expect great customer service, but even if sometimes you buy a drink or food on the side of the street, the level of packaging, it's done with so much care. In the UK, some specky teenager would shove it in a bag, toss it over the shoulder and kind of tell you to do one. Here, they still have respect. Packaged nicely, handed to you nicely, eye contact, all the stuff that's no longer evident in the UK, it really shows here, and it's a nice experience, the customer service. I guess the last thing I notice is that where we are down in Nilai, just south of the capital, is that there's a lot of Malaysian, there's a lot of Chinese Malaysian, there's a lot of Indian Malaysian, but we think there's a lot of Japanese, Taiwanese, Singaporean, Korean, and even though I'm as white, right? So I'm noticeably, maybe, I don't think I maybe look British, but I definitely look white, and I'm one of few, but you get no like looks, if that's a thing, that you may get in, I went to Zimbabwe once 20 years ago, and I only mention this because there you are white, and when you take a walk, we went to some highlands and some forests and stuff, and when you walk down the street, you're the only white person. I say this, it feels so racist to say this, but you get a look because you are the only white person, and they must acknowledge that you are. I think I'm gonna have to pull this as a thing, because I don't want to talk about it. We should all be colorblind. Final custom is, in Malaysia, they celebrate all, say for example, they had Diwali, which is an Indian celebration. That was big business here. We're just approaching Chinese New Year. That's a big deal here. They celebrate the Malaysian holidays. They celebrate the King of Malaysia holiday. They celebrated New Year, the My New Year. They celebrate Christmas, and it's amazing that they, I don't want to say they're willing, but it seems very natural for them to celebrate everyone's national holidays without batting an eyelid. Oh yeah, it's Chinese New Year, and then oh yeah, it's New Year and Christmas, no problem. You know, Diwali, yep, all celebrated. There's no, I don't feel like there's anything contentious about celebrating someone else's national holiday. All right, that's it for customs. I forgot maybe the best custom they have here. It's going to sound silly. Businesses work on WhatsApp. So the company will have a number, and they will have that'll be on WhatsApp. And believe it or not, this is, if you're English, you won't believe me. If you WhatsApp that number, you will be able to talk to someone. It is, I know, you won't believe me. You get here, you message a business, and you can literally have that WhatsApp conversation we're all used to with our friends. But businesses do the same. So I have a WhatsApp number to the guy who opened up my bank account. I have a WhatsApp number to the guy who bought me the bike trainer. I have a WhatsApp number to the HSBC Premier Banking person who's going to help me open up an account. I have the WhatsApp number to the visa agent. In the UK, I don't have a single WhatsApp number for any business I've ever done anything with. It is like, oh my god. It is so good to be able to communicate with the companies you're doing business with. You wouldn't believe it. You won't believe it until you get here and someone gives you their WhatsApp number and you're conversing with them via WhatsApp. Absolute game changer. Thank the GDPR laws. Zero here, and rightly so, because what a bunch of nonsense. Anyway, that's it. WhatsApp, brilliant.